So, find the angles labelled in the following triangles, and I've put centimetres on the first one. We'll call them all cm. So, I'm going to label the triangles slightly differently in this video. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an arrow away from the angle and call this side the opposite. So we used to label H and A first. H and A touch off the angle, but you can see here H is here. So I have O and H. I'm going to write down my word here. Which one has O and H? You can see it's sine. Do this every time until you are 100% confident you're not going to make a mistake. So O and H, when we have O and H, we use sine. So you should be getting to the point now where you don't have to do all the labeling that you would have done in the first video. I think you're on to maybe the 5th video of this. So we say the inverse sine of O over H, which is 5 over 10, is equal to the angle A. You can see that's 1 over 2. So A is 30 degrees. In this one here, I'm going to start by drawing my arrow away from the angle. That's O. So you can see here, that leaves H and A. We have H and A, so we use the second one, cos. So the inverse cos of A over H. Now, if you put into your calculator the inverse cos of 6 over 4, it will come up as an error, because you can't get an inverse cos of a ratio bigger than 1. So the inverse cos of A over H. So if you ever do get an error on your calculator, try it again and see what happens. See, have you made a mistake? Now this comes up as 48.189 degrees. And if you were asked to round this to 2 decimals in an exam, it would be 48.19 degrees. Because of this 9, the 8 moves up 1. So we'll round this one to 2 decimals. Okay, I'm going to draw an arrow again. May help you to do this. So O, and you can see here, I forgot to put the right angle in, but this is H over here. So we have A here. So this one is tan. The 2 straight sides you should identify as tan straight away. So the inverse tan of O over A up here, and O is 10 and A is 2. So you could type that into your calculator if you like, or you could just put in the inverse tan of 5, and the inverse tan of 5, I'm going to write the 2 decimals as well. C is equal to 78.69 degrees, and you can see in your calculator it repeats. Then there's a lot of zeros. Maybe I should write B here. Okay, down to D. I'm going to draw my arrow away if that helps. That's O. H is here, you can see. It means A is up here. You can see we have the 2 straight sides, so it has to be tan. 2 straight sides. So the inverse tan of O over A, 3 over 100. Now, is tan, when tan's a tiny number, is the angle big or is the angle small? You can see that the angle is small, 1.718. This is where in an exam you will be asked to round to 2 decimals. 1.72 is equal to D, and that's in centimetres. Draw your arrow away from the angle, you'll get O. H and A touch off the angle, so that's cos if we have A and H. So the inverse cos of A over H. Again, if you put 20 over 7 into your calculator, it will give you an error. So E is equal to, and if we were asked to round this one to 2 decimals, 512, you can see here, because of the 2, the 1 doesn't change. So it either stays the same or moves up 1, never goes down. 69.51 degrees. You may even be asked to round this to 1 decimal, which would be 69.5 degrees, because again, the 1 is less than 5. If that was 5.5, it would become 0.6 degrees. And lastly, threw this in here just to confuse those. Oh, we never did this. We never saw a decimal in a triangle. Well, just write it out the same way. This is O. This is H. So what do we use? We use sine. So the inverse sine of O, your calculator will do all this for you. O over H. Now that's a half divided by 2, which is a quarter. So you could type in the inverse sine of a quarter if you see that. But your calculator will do it all for you, so don't worry about it. So F is equal to, we'll round this one off as well. If you were examinable in this, what would you say they'd ask for? 2 decimals, 14.48, or 1 decimal, 14.5 degrees. So nice and simple. You should at this point have mastered finding an angle when given 2 sides.